climate change and food security. Let us not wait for us to have another record-breaking year of Category 5 storms here in the Caribbean. That is being caused by climate change. Let us not wait until the world breaks out into war over food.
Today, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, with support from the Global Affairs Canada and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, United Kingdom, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, launches the Enabling Gender Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean EnGenDER project entitled Strengthening the Adaptive Capacity of Youth Farmers and Fisherfolk in Jamaica. It is with great pleasure that we once again partner with the UNDP to implement such an important project that will undoubtedly impact and empower many of our Jamaican youth. Overall, the Jamaica 4-H Foundation continues to ensure that our youth farmers and fishers are provided with optimum training opportunities and certification for their respective careers in agriculture. As an organization, we continue to strive towards getting more youth entrants into the sector by exposing them to research, innovation, and by providing increased opportunities, particularly for our youth female cohorts. We look forward to the continued support and growth and strengthening of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation's partnership with the UNDP as we strive to become transforming force in communities through training, educating, and empowering the Jamaican youth.
The physical impacts of climate change and natural hazards often compound pervasive structural inequalities and socioeconomic vulnerabilities. This occurs because gender equality and human rights are frequently not given the consideration required in climate change mitigation and adaptation, and in this disaster risk recovery and response. Women and men typically respond and react differently in various stages of disasters and recovery. The groups with the least knowledge and capacity to take short-term measures to limit impacts from climate-related disasters are often the most affected. For this reason, the Enabling Gender-Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean (EnGenDER) project seeks to further integrate gender equality and human rights-based approaches into disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and environmental management frameworks and interventions, as well as to identify and address some of the gaps to ensure equal access to disaster risk reduction and climate change and environmental solutions for both men, women, boys, and girls. The project has 4 main objectives. Firstly, to advance the gender-responsive implementation of national adaptation plans and nationally appropriate mitigation actions at the sector level according to national priorities, focusing on sectors that have the greatest beneficial impact for women and girls. Secondly, to support representation of the needs and perspectives of the most vulnerable populations in cross-sectoral, inclusive governance, and national climate change planning. Thirdly, building government capacity for gender-responsive intersectoral access to climate finance through innovative solutions. And finally, to build on the work of other partners working at the national level to assist countries to develop and/or strengthen gender-responsive and inclusive national recovery mechanisms and plans.
So we're here today talking about a project that is building women, building agriculture, and building climate resilience. Now, all these things sound good to say. And all these things are buzzwords now, and they're nice cliches and nice taglines. But to what extent do we appreciate and fully understand the tangible impact of this. I'll give you an example. As a matter of fact, I see some of our friends from InMed here. I realized they started following me on social media the other day. All the time on my social media, I'm sure they're having the time of their life now. All the time on social media, I post the videos from all over the world. And here in Jamaica, of natural disasters happening in unprecedented ways, in unprecedented places. Flash flooding, drought, all sorts, wildfires, all sorts of incidents that impact human life. You know, a lot of us take for granted how dangerous it is. Not just to your personal life, but even to the value of property that you own. Because of this nice buzzword, this nice cliche that you call climate change. So when our international partners would have come together to support a program such as this, and in particular to give such important attention to women, you are doing the entire world a favor. Not just Jamaica. Not just the Jamaica 4-H clubs. You are doing the entire world a favor. We must not take these things for granted. All of us, in closing, I simply remind us that all of us have to live somewhere. And you have to eat to live. Well, although my better half will probably tell you that she believes that I live to eat. But the two single greatest threats to humanity right now are climate change and food security. Climate change and food security. Let us not wait for us to have another record-breaking year of Category 5 storms here in the Caribbean. That is being caused by climate change. Let us not wait until the world breaks out into war over food. Let us not wait until we cannot feed the population of the world. So climate change and climate resiliency, therefore, is for our own personal protection, if nothing else. And they are symbiotic because the food security is essential to the survival of each and every one of us as individuals.
Welcome to 4-H and Denbigh 4-H Training and Development Center. You know, I was just talking with Ava Cross, and I was saying to Ava that this is probably one of the most important of all of the projects that the 4-H clubs would partner with its development partner in implementing in Jamaica. And I'm very pleased that we would have had long and sustained discussion about the components of this project. And one of the important things about the 4 clearly described components, as Ms. Scott did, is how they strategically align with the priorities, not just of the Jamaica 4-H Club, but the Ministry of Agriculture, Jamaica on a whole. And I want to say to Oliver and Her Excellency, and I want you, colleagues, to listen carefully, that one of the things about the environment or the ecosystem on a whole is that whatever you do anywhere in the world to the ecosystem impacts the world everywhere. It's one of the most important aspects of life that interconnects all our peoples in one sphere. This project brings into sharp focus the ministry and the 4-H Club focus on grow smart, eat smart. So there are two important components: the enterprise development and the youth and women in fisheries component are in fact geared to put on the ground the concept of grow smart. The Jamaica 4-H clubs takes the production of food by our youth and women seriously. And so we are not doing it by accident. And so over the last year, we have incorporated precision agriculture as a way or strategic approach for production by our youth farms. So essentially what we are saying is that you can use information technology to precisely determine what nutrient and other requirements your plant needs to have for optimum yield. So gone are the days when we are encouraging our young farmers to waste water, which may be in short supply. Gone are the days when we are saying that you put as much fertilizer as you think the plant may have. We are saying the technology exists, and I'm happy to say that a couple days in the agricultural show, we had 21 pieces of technology that we have brought in from elsewhere in the world. And we have made those available to all farmers in Jamaica to help them to become more productive and to grow smart.
I'm very pleased to be here today at this project, helping farmers and fishers to adapt to the impact of climate change in Jamaica. We talk a lot in international fora about climate change. Indeed, when I arrived in Jamaica about this time last year, we were working very closely with Minister Colonel Charles, who was then Minister for Climate Change, and his team, about to head off to the Glasgow COP26 conference. A lot of things are talked about in these big meetings, but it's very important that we make sure that all these fine words in these big fora actually mean something for people on the ground, on the front line of climate change, such as farmers and fishers. Some people around the world have the resources to adapt easily or to move their families and businesses elsewhere. But on small islands in farming and fishing communities, that is not so easy. We know that small island developing states didn't contribute to climate change and are amongst the first to suffer its effects. And the people who suffer those effects most immediately are people in the poorer communities. So I'm very pleased that we're able to work with the range of partners we have here today to provide some practical support and training to these communities, to the women, to the youth, to all the farmers and fishers who are now facing the impact of climate change. And that impact, as we have heard, is very real. I remember last year we produced a video with the Climate Change Division showing the impact of sea level rise on Pelford Beach. We've seen the impact of flooding and hurricanes. And we're working with the Ministry of Finance here on improving the resilience of Jamaica in terms of Jamaican finances, Jamaican infrastructure to the impact of climate change. But all that must translate to the impact and supporting people on the ground. So I'm very grateful to all those involved in this project and wish everybody well in taking forward this work and learning the lessons too, because what is done here will help in learning for what is also done elsewhere. Indeed, that is one of the roles that Jamaica plays with us internationally and nationally. Jamaica is involved in almost every pilot project internationally in climate change. And I think that highlights the commitment that Jamaica shows, both from the leadership down to the community level, on recognizing that this is something that we're all in together.
Gender equality, thank you, is the most effective way to reduce poverty and to build a more inclusive, peaceful, and prosperous world. Governments must continue to prioritize sectors where the most vulnerable remain at the forefront. The Enabling Gender Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience, EnGenDER, I realize now why you have a really snazzy acronym because it's a mouthful, is a project that was conceptualized to do precisely that. Through EnGenDER, we have already supported work, including a revision of the National Transport Policy, to ensure the changing needs of Jamaica's transport system are addressed, and to allow for gender equality and climate change considerations to be mainstreamed. This work in the agricultural and transport sectors provided opportunities for policy articulation to strengthen the integration of gender equality to sectoral planning and implementation processes to address both adaptation and resilience. Today, Canada is proud to support today's initiative that will contribute to advancing gender equality here in Jamaica, including through this pilot project, strengthening the adaptive capacity of young farmers and fishers in Jamaica. As many of you are aware, fishing communities across the Caribbean and here in Jamaica are experiencing rapid changes in the coastal ecosystems that underpin livelihood security. In Jamaica, these changes are partially reflected in the collapse of the local capture fishery, which has exacerbated ecological, social, and food security challenges. I'm very pleased that this project will work towards strengthening the adaptive capacity of young farmers and fishers in selected communities in Jamaica, with a view of targeting close to 900 youth. It is our hope that with this support, more young persons will become involved in these important industries, and the project will provide a supportive framework for the ongoing development of the fishery sector. As some of the previous speakers mentioned, it is incredibly important that youth be engaged and their involvement encouraged in developing solutions to the changes faced by the agricultural sector and the need for climate-smart agriculture. And I know we can all agree that this is critical for our human health, food security, and national development. I would also like to especially recognize the role of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation, a critical partner in this project. I applaud your work in preparing young people to pursue careers in the agricultural industry and contributing to the country's efforts to achieve food security. And next time you have some of our Canadian 4-Hers, let me know, because it would be nice to do a visit. And I'd also, of course, especially like to thank our other partners, including, of course, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the UNDP, the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, the Human Employment and Resource Training National Service Training Agency Trust, and the Rural Agricultural Development Agency. So Mr. Virgo, I think you said it well. I'm not going to say you're preaching to the choir, because I'm not sure if that's an expression in Jamaica, but we use it in Canada. It's okay. We all know that climate change matters. We all know we're not heading in a great direction either, right? So things that keep me up at night, climate change is one of them, food security is one of them. This project touches on all of them. The last 2 years of the pandemic underscored how interconnected we are. Did we learn our lesson? I hope so. I know that some of the people here did. Certainly we did. It is incredibly important for us to continue to invest in our ability to prepare, respond, and recover. No one else is going to do it unless we do it together. So Canada is very, very pleased to partner with Jamaica and our partners. This is a key priority for international assistance, and we remain committed to supporting their efforts. So best of luck for the project. I look forward to purchasing some of your food at food stands as I drive around Jamaica, and thank you for having me. Have a good day. Thank you.
I am going to be doing today Breadfruit by Amal Wright. Big up my heritage, yes, in a heritage fest. No junk food, breadfruits are the best. Mix it with the national dish. Love it with the key and saltfish.
I'm very happy this morning to be sharing in this exercise. I think it is a very, very important exercise as we seek to making sure that we adapt to the realities of climate change. I listened to previous speakers who mentioned the importance of us making sure that we bring this kind of support to the level, I think Mr. Blakely mentioned, to the level of the grassroots, because we will talk about the importance of adapting to climate change, and sometimes those at the bottom who really need the support, sometimes we leave them out. But this project is aimed at getting down to the level of those who really need the kind of support to ensure that we can be resilient as we go about our business in the fishery sector and in the agricultural sector. My recent involvement and participation in the meetings with the Forest Club, I've really realized that there is some new energies as it relates to young people and women in agriculture, and therefore I am feeling very happy to know that we are on the right path. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret that our women and young people face great challenges in accessing resources to adapt to climate change. And if we are to create a future that ensures agricultural security as we go smart and eat smart, our youth must be at the forefront of this drive towards food security.
My name is Anthony Tartan from Westmoreland, Cave Mountain community. What I'm looking forward to mostly is the innovative ways in which I can improve my farming practice.
Hi, I'm Daniela Williams from St. Thomas, specifically Air Castle, a community called Rockbrook. What I'm looking forward to is more input in my beekeeping enterprise. I'm already a farmer, got some experience, and the training helped me a lot in marketing and stuff because I'm doing a lot of social media marketing that really opened up my eyes to more. But yeah, I'm looking forward to increasing my bees.
Good day everyone, my name is Kenny Morgan. I'm a beneficiary of this program, and I'm looking forward to expand more and learn more about aquaponics and hydroponics.